or highlight whatever they want. We're going to go in reverse order from the random order that we had at the beginning. This is all on the up and up. Okay, Mr. Cohen is first.
To me, what strikes me the most about in working in the school district is that when you look at the school level, and in terms of what people are actually doing in the schools, it's a very vibrant kind of scene. That when you have the school, there are all these programs going on. There are parent volunteers, teachers working in classrooms and teaching students. So the problem that I see is that once you get above that level, suddenly it becomes much more of a kind of miasma, sort of. There's much more alienation, and people, you know, it's not a very good situation. And I run into this all the time because I started out in PTA working at the school level where everything is much more positive. But then when you try and work at the district level, it suddenly becomes much more of a struggle to accomplish anything. And I think part of that, what I'd like to do as a school board member is to try and turn that around, to come as a school board member realizing that the school board should not be the most important part of the school district, really. It should be, what's important is what happens in the schools and in the classrooms, and that you have to keep that in mind in your approach. And so the role of the school board should always be to look at ways to facilitate that process at the local school level and in the class level. Of course, you're responsible for the school district, and there are certain policies that you have to work on, but you always keep in mind that the important people and the important thing about a school district is the schools and the classes that are in those schools, and you work to facilitate that. And to the degree that you do have some kind of role, another thing that I like to highlight is the concept of the ombudsman, that a lot of places you have a problem with a bureaucracy, and then what you want from the school board is to try and not to make particular decisions, but to make sure that the schools and the classes, people and the teachers in their classes are getting what they need, and they're not being obstructed by the school district, so that all of our great schools in our district will be allowed to shine.
Mr. Ramsey goes next.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate having you here for the forum. I really enjoyed it, and I want to thank the candidates also for showing up and hopefully answering your questions. We've been in tough times, and I, as a board member, have really worked hard to try to make sure that we kept the cuts as far away from the classroom as possible. During the last 4 years, we did pass the parcel tax. We renewed it. And one of the only school districts that actually has a free and reduced lunch program of over 60%. That's unusual to be able to renew a parcel tax, and we did that. And actually, we didn't stop. We're trying for another, because we understand that having cut out $39 million out of your budget, it's hard to deliver instruction. I think that the board has to set the tone for the district and show leadership and be able to demonstrate, one, that student achievement is at our core in who we are. And I think we've done that. We maintained class size reduction. We didn't cut AP courses. As a matter of fact, we're trying to increase it. We have more of a college-going awareness. We just had a college fair last week for our second year. I've tried to bring more college admissions officers to bring awareness to this district. As a matter of fact, I'll be with Dartmouth College on Sunday afternoon. So I think I've put in the work necessary to make a difference in all that. One thing about me, I'm accessible. Now, they all might not agree about my style and my behavior, but one thing people do know about me is that you can get in contact with me. I'm open, I'm willing to listen, and willing to work with people. I've worked with families here, I've worked with families throughout the district, I've tried to raise resources. I think I've been an asset by the work that I've done. I believe in the next 4 years, I want to help reduce the dropout rate. I want to be able to increase AP courses for students. I want to be able to make sure that we make our campuses safer, and like I said, reduce the cost that we have to pay on police. I believe doing those things will make sure that we have a sustainable district. Thank you.
Ms. Miles is next.
I think that we have a lot of work to do still, but I think that we're on the path for doing that. What I look at as far as academics in the district, through the academic subcommittee, we're at the point of looking at individual schools that are low achieving schools and putting the policies in place that help that process to become better. One of the things that we looked at when we were looking at the LEA process, which looks at underachieving schools, is that number one, that the parent component is there. And number 2, that we provide the volunteer program. And number 3, that we provide the programs that help with the intervention. That there is an accountability piece where the teachers are trained, that there's an assessment piece that goes along with that. All of those things have been in place, have just begun to look at where the holes are and where they need to be filled academically. Second, we can always do better when we're looking at our community involvement and looking at communities communication. So what we've talked about just recently and in the past when we had the school closure process was how can we better communicate with our communities. So looking at community meetings where it's not just about a board meeting, because often it's about community people feeling that they want to have a voice, that they want to be heard. I think that's the big key piece. Along with that, also is looking at having more conversations with our teachers in an open manner and being able to sit down with them and have them talk other than at a board meeting. The biggest complaint that we've heard is that people feel that the board is not accessible. The board is accessible, but there are certain procedures within a board meeting that don't allow certain things. So looking at ways that we can improve our community communications with both our teachers and our parents while still increasing our academic achievement in the district and keeping our students.
Ms. Cronenberg is next.
Thank you all for coming. You had some incredibly thoughtful questions. And it's hard for you to know that because you don't go to all these forums, but I know that, and everyone up here knows that. So thank you for coming. Thank you for the questions. Let me just wrap it up by saying this. 4 years ago when I decided to get involved on a board level, I really didn't understand the level of challenge that was going to be ahead of us, because I thought we had gone through the worst when I had been involved in the bankruptcy, and I was wrong. The worst came, and we wound up with a recession. We wound up with teachers wanting to go on strike. We wound up having to actually face the financial decisions that had been put off for all of those years. We did it. We did it, and we actually have improved student achievement. Are we where we want to be? No, but we are moving in the right direction across the board. And I think that's an important thing. It happened because we were committed to doing it and committed to working together. And for me, I've always been committed to listening to everybody. And I continue to do that. I'm the last one to leave the meeting. I'm the last one to leave everything because I'm always listening. And so I hope I get a chance to continue to listen to all of you. I'm committed to doing something more with our student achievement, to looking at ways to go and work on that achievement gap by building all of the additional features in for our highest performing students and our students who are in fact struggling for all kinds of reasons, academic reasons and reasons that are other than academic. But we don't need, what the important thing to me is that we not be blind to the actual facts of who we serve in our district and how we can best go about finding the resources and the solutions to the problems around academic success. So I hope I have your vote. It's been a privilege to serve you for the last 4 years, and I look forward to doing it again.
Mr. Friedman is next.
I spoke before about the long way that we have to go, particularly with math test scores and elsewhere, but I didn't get a chance to talk about what we're going to do differently so that more of our students can be prepared to succeed as citizens in careers and in college. So the reason I decided to run is that I feel I offer a unique set of experiences and a unique perspective because I've had some unique opportunities to work all around the country. I work closely with leaders from organizations like the Coalition for Community Schools, the national advocacy group that is bringing communities together with schools, sharing revenues and sharing resources so that those schools can cooperate and succeed together. I am part of a number of innovative projects funded by the National Science Foundation and others. And these opportunities have given me the chance to see great success stories all around the country, and I've seen great success stories in our own backyard. I believe that we can move forward with these policies and balance our budget. I have the academic credentials and the work experience that's necessary to balance the budget. But I also have an understanding that it's not just about balancing the budget, it's about balancing the budget and achieving higher student success rates. I believe my fresh perspective gives me the opportunity to work with community members all over the district. I have support from all over the district because people are looking for a way to connect with each other about our schools and support our schools. And so I hope that I'll earn your support. If you do have more questions about me, or if you know others who have questions, I'm available for coffee. There's 4 events coming up, and they're on the sheet in the back, so I hope you'll join me next week for coffee, and feel free to contact me anytime. Thanks.
Ms. Merriweather?
I want to also thank you for coming out and listening to each one of us. And I know what you have to say, or even what you think about this whole process is very important. And I feel that parents are an integral part of this district, and we need to be listened to. We need to be involved in the process. As a parent, I went through the whole school closure process with Mira Vista, and it was so confusing. And one minute we thought Portland was coming there, and the next minute they weren't. It was so confusing for the parents. And I said, I never want a parent to have to go through that again. I think parents need to be involved in the process. They need to be there when changes are going to be made. The information need to get to the parents. And so I'm running because I want to see a change. And I think it's important that parents and community people are involved in the process. And I have the ability, I have the skills, I have the financial background, and I believe that I can do the job. So I'm looking forward to going forward in this district, because in just a couple of weeks you're going to be going to the poll, and you're going to make a very critical decision about the future of our children in this district. So as you do that, I want you to just think about what you as a parent, as a stakeholder in this process, can do for the future of our children by electing accountable board members. Thank you.
I want to thank all the candidates for coming out tonight, answering our questions. Thank all of you for coming, contributing questions, and hope that we can continue to talk about education. So thanks to the candidates.